Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Dee Reinhardt. I am with Illinois WorkNet, and today we are doing a technical assistance call for Apprenticeship Illinois providers. I don't have a specific agenda today. I do have a couple of things that I would just like to show people just to ingrain it a little bit more, because I did have some emails from some folks this past week that were questioning how to get to their grants and access and all that kind of good stuff. So one thing that I do want to show you is that if some of your users or new users are do not have access to the customer support center, which is on my screen right now, you should be seeing my screen. One of the thing that you do need to do with that is to use this user management icon, which is the single head profile. And what you would do is click on that, and this has to be like a person that already has access to do this. You would add a partner to your group. And so on this, if you don't already have a user account, you can create a user account at the exact same time. So this is a dual purpose here. And then if you need to remove somebody from a group, all you have to do is click this X. You can check your group. So if I look for Apprenticeship Illinois ABC location, I can see who has access to my location. And if they're no longer there, then I can remove them from the group, or I can add a new user to my group. And when you add a partner to the group, you need to have first name, last name, birth date, phone number, email address. I would suggest a work email address, and the zip code of probably your office. And then you would select a group from the list of whoever it is, whatever organization you are doing this with. And then you have to click search. And so search will bring up if there are any other competing profiles in Illinois WorkNet, so that if there is already one there, you can say, yes, this is correct, but we need to make a change for the phone number or whatever. Then once you have that information show up, it will ask you, does this user need access to other staff, to manage staff? And it's a yes or no question. So if, say, Dirk is adding a new person and that person is going to need staff access, meaning your agency access, not any participants, not any customers of yours, but staff access, and you would say yes. If they don't, the answer is no. You do have to answer that question before you can actually add the partner to the system. Now, for IWTS access, that is a different set of groups of people. And so I would need to add that. So that's when you would need to send me some user information. That person would need to be promoted to, in the same form and fashion, they would need to be promoted as a public viewer to your group. And then I can find them and add them to the incumbent worker groups if they're going to be adding those items. Speaking of incumbent worker groups, on IWTS, you're probably all used to adding things through an IWDS project number. But if we're going to initiate a project here, and I'll do this because we don't have this in test, so I'll just have somebody remove this project for me. But if I initiate an incumbent worker project, and it's thinking, too long for my taste. Come on. Here we go. I go through this process, and on this page right here, you want to select IWIS. And then you can enter your grant number. And I believe that you do not have to include the dashes at all. And then you search. Oops, so it is no dash, sorry. And then it will show you your grant. So those are the differences between IWDS adding IWTS people. Oh my God, that acronym soup. Incumbent workers from Illinois WorkNet Development System, or I'm sorry, Illinois Workforce Development System is different than for what we're doing for Apprenticeship Illinois. So if you are adding projects, you have to use this IWIS as your search filter rather than all or IWDS. So it's IWIS. Any questions about this? Then the process is the same and the directions are available on our apprenticeship partners page. So if we go to this tab, and y'all should have this bookmarked by now because our calendar of events is on here and all of the handouts that you need are on here. Oh, and so if you need these resources at all to do anything, you can find all of your items right here. And so the user management instructions are right here, and the adding incumbent worker instructions are right here. All right, any questions about those two items? I did open up the poll so that you can check in for attendance. All right, I see some chat things here. Cindy, I don't know why. It's part of our database collection so that we make sure that if two people have the same name, it's a match factor. So that's the only reason I can think of why the birth date is needed. How do you get to the user management? Does everyone have that screen? Angelina, I think you will. I'm not sure if everybody from your organization has that, because that piece is part of the user management and you have to be assigned user management rights.
I don't have that person at the top. I don't have that user management option at the top of my screen, and neither does Joy for Win Lake College.
So who's let me look at my list. Who would be your boss on my list?
Joy Fitz.
And Joy doesn't have that either.
Yeah.
So I will make sure that Joy, and I will do that after the meeting so that we don't see her details in the recording. I will do that after the meeting to make sure that she has user access, unless Joy would think that you would need to have that.
I think it'll be fine if she does. Yeah.
I think I would need to have it, but can you show me again how you get to that user management? I just want to double check and make sure I didn't miss a step.
So it's from the customer support center. So if you are logged into Illinois WorkNet.
Yep.
So if you're logged into Illinois WorkNet, you can click on the drop-down arrow by the My Dashboard.
Yep.
And you click on this customer support center. And just right over here, a little bit more to the right, is the IWTS access, in case you need to know where to find that. And then that would take you to this dashboard space where you would see dashboards. You will not see customers, only super admin have access to customers, but you will see groups, and then you will see this user management once I give that access to you.
Okay, I do have it, so I'm good.
Okay.
I did the step-by-step and I'm good on that.
Okay, good. And then Lucinda, do you manage all of the staff in your organization?
No, that's Kathy, but
She would probably not want to do this. So I'm thinking that Okay,
Yeah.
so then,
No, she won't.
okay, so I will give you rights to that. Okay. User management rights.
Thank you,
Anybody
Dee.
else on the call need access to user management? No, maybe yes, kind of, sort of. We don't know. Okay. All right. Moving on, the dashboard. Let's talk a little bit about some numbers here. We've got 131 people entered into the system that are case managed, or maybe not quite there yet. This does not track IWTS customers. And this line here where it says total active participants has 72. So if you are on as a navigator right now, you probably are not entering case managed customers right yet. And so these numbers probably don't mean much to you. But from the reports page, right here where this little icon is, once we have actual incumbent workers who are enrolled in a training program for your grant numbers 19, they will sync over to this report. And so then we will see these numbers listed in here for these people. So if at some point in time, you know that you have enrolled a person into IWTS, into an actual training program, and they are a 19 grant individual, then they will sync over. If you are adding customers for the other impacted individuals on the upload for the other individuals impacted here for the upload, then they will show up in this list as well. You can click on the top of a column and get the list filtered. If you need to add a success story, you can add it here. But the IWTS folks will sync, but they do have to be enrolled in a training program. All right, any questions about that? Okay, one of the other pieces that we need you guys to do is on the career plans for these folks. If you're registering them into a RAP program, a registered apprenticeship program, we need that career step added. So does anybody need to review a little bit about the career plans? I'll go into training, into my training page and show you that. Yes, no, maybe? All right. And then last but not least, for the things that I have on my agenda, in the event that any of you would be interested in showing people about this, and it doesn't have to be just your apprenticeship customers, but we have launched Generation 2 of Employment 101. And to access that, the customer would need to be logged in, and on their dashboard here, they can get to it by clicking on Employment 101. We also have a number of new career plan tools that are affiliated and were created because of the remodel of Employment 101. So you can access either of those items here, or you can go to your My Dashboard. So your customers would go to My Dashboard and they could access Employment 101 right here. And just quickly, I'll give you a 5-minute tour here. But once they're in Employment 101, this is the overall guide for it. We have changed the learning modules up quite a bit so that if we go into a learning module, it starts with what their activities are. And then it has an interactive learning piece rather than just sitting there and reading articles like we had for years and years and years. And then once they're done with that, it links them to either an activity where they have to write notes, watch a video, do something, and then they will complete some other items. So on this particular step, it links them out to CIS so that they can complete their career cluster inventory. And then once they're done with that, they would mark it as complete and move on to the next step. And as you finish pieces, it checks them off here and it checks them off up above so that you can see where you are. This was like birthing an elephant for me. And I am so glad that it is now finally live. It is a great tool. It does take a tad bit longer. We do have an instructor's guide that goes along with it that will be added as a button right here for instructor guide. It has discussion questions. It has how you can use this in a classroom setting so that it is very much available on an individual level as well as on a workshop type level. Within each section, there is a quiz that the user can take, and each of the quiz items are an actual question for an actual question that is on the pre and the post assessment. And it tells them if they got the answer wrong or right, it tells them this and what the correct answer is. We are using CIS for career cluster assessments. And we've also added reality check and learning. How do you learn best? So those two additional items have been added to our setup with CIS. Next we have, let me get back to my menu. One of the things I want to show you a couple of the tools. So on here we have the learning modules again. We have an identify, so this notes tool allows you to actually type in there, but if they want to download a checklist and actually physically write, some people like that better than typing, they can do this, and this checklist is the same on every one of the items that asks for notes. Additionally, we are creating a career plan with steps and goals inside of it based on some of the basic steps that we have within an Illinois WorkNet career plan. Now, if you are part of a special project and you have a special project on the career support, the customer support center, you can have your customers pick one career plan or another. But if you want them to just learn a little bit, say you've got a younger person that is coming into your program and they maybe don't have a whole ton of work experience, don't have a lot of interviewing experience, this would be a good tool for them to use. And even if you've got people coming back into the workforce, it's a great tool to use. It was good before, but in my opinion, this is much more interactive. It's much more user-friendly, and it's just a better tool for everybody to try to use. On this step, we have a video here about how to use our job tracker. So let me now go to some of our tools. And so you can access the career tools here or from the dashboard. So what we have is we have compare careers. When they bookmark a career within the system, and these are all from the career, the career pathways that we have on Illinois WorkNet. So there's the 17 career pathways, and they'll have all the occupations. They can drag and drop this up and down, or they can use the arrows on the right-hand side to move things up and down. On the compare training, they can select training from either WIOA approved programs, or they can select it from public-private training providers. And same thing, they can move training programs up or down, or if they click the button, they can remove it from their list. The job search organizer works like a Kaizen board. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Trello, or any of you use Trello at all? It's this works on the same principle as that Kaizen board Trello concept. And so if you bookmark a job on our Indeed job finder tool, it will put it in here under openings, or you can add a job from scratch that allows you to put in all of the information. Then if they say they have an interview with this VP of marketing and they finish the interview, then they want to move it over to follow-up, it actually adds a date from the follow-up when they actually move it over. Then if they never did anything with that particular job, they can move it over to the archive spot. So it lets them track their job search in an orderly fashion on the computer. Resume Builder goes to our optimal resume tool. The career plan, if they have more than one career plan, it will link here. And if they click on it, it takes them to the career plan in their profile, and it shows them all of the steps that they set up, all of the goals that they set up within Employment 101 as they're going through the process. So this kind of does a little bit of the Career Navigator Case Manager's tool for them, because it's helping them establish some dates, some hours that they might spend on a particular step or item. Then on the notes, during the course of the whole Employment 101, we're calling it E101 Gen 2 now, they're asked to make some notes about different aspects of the training. So what do you still need? They can see what they've put in there. If they need to edit it, it takes them back to the spot where they can actually edit their notes, and then they can copy or paste some of those notes and put them on the career plan items if they need to. Assessments includes all of the assessments that are in Illinois WorkNet that we track. So you have a link here to whatever you did on CIS. It scores the pre-assessments. You only, for most grants that make you take a pre-assessment, you're only able to take the pre-assessment one time. On a post-assessment, you can take it as many times as you need until you achieve that 70% score. And then that way you can then get the certificate. Now, on the results for this, on the pre-assessment, it only gives you what you got wrong. On the post-assessment, let me click on this one that I got quite a few wrong. It tells you what the correct answer was and if you got it right. And if you got it wrong, it tells me what my answer was, what the correct answer was, and it links me back to that spot in Employment 101 for me to see the right answer. So that's one way that we can help the participants get to the right place on their tool. Whoops. And then if they do any other, for part of Employment 101, they take a self-evaluation. They can click in here and see what their scores were on those self-evaluations. And then last but not least, it takes them to Employment 101, and they can go to take the post-assessment, or they can go to download their certificate, or they can go to the guide. Once they have finished everything, they can move very freely in between everything. But what we are trying to do is we're trying to get them to go from point A to point Z. And so we try to guide them through the process as they're going. So that was the nickel tour of Employment 101. I invite any and all of you to participate and take Employment 101 yourself. I have a survey. Let me get the link. And if you do take Employment 101, I would really appreciate you completing the survey. And I've got to, sorry, I'm looking at a different screen. I'm trying to get the link. I would appreciate you putting feedback in here for me because I'm looking at our grant program people to help me provide any feedback on the tool. It's a lot. It takes a little bit longer than what the old Employment 101 did, but I'm hoping that because of the interactivity, people will be reading it better and will be absorbing more of the information. So what do you guys think so far? Thumbs up? Good. All right. All right. Any questions? Any concerns? Any things about Apprenticeship Illinois that I need to answer for you?
Dee, Elgin Community College, both Lisa and I need our accounts reset. It's telling us that we have incorrect credentials or no authorization.
For what?
To get into the system as a whole, to get into the partner system, to log into our account.
All right. Let me stay on with me. And let me look at it. Okay. All right. Anybody else?
Dee, this is Cindy Lehman with 24. Maybe a little later this afternoon we can talk because I'm looking at the dashboard and looking at participants and such, and there's nobody.
And you've entered people?
Yes, they were
Yeah.
all the II, but they're not showing up anywhere.
Oh, they were all OII people?
Yes.
Let me. All right, let me stop recording and I'll look before you hang up too. Anybody else? Okay, I will stop the recording and then we will dive into some of those issues that I don't want to show a whole lot of private information. So thanks for watching today, everybody.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, if you guys want to leave, you are welcome to leave. Otherwise, stay with me, and if you need to ask any other questions, you can. Bye.
Thank you.
So what I want to do, Cindy, I'm going to make you co-host. Oh, wait, I'm still recording. Let me stop this.